There's a problem that many, if not most of us have, and it's a huge problem. And it really comes down to our brains. Our brains are hardwired to take our own personal experience and prejudices and thoughts and past decisions way too much into account and ignore the data around us. And so, in other words, when you look at it, when we are asked as human beings, and scientific study after scientific study has proven this, when we are asked to predict engagement, so looking at, for example, here's two ads, which one will do better? And they're both good ads, but we're trying to figure out which one of these is going to do well, best with our particular audience. Here's the challenge. We guess wrong. This applies to things like social media, to ads, to videos, to landing pages, to sales pages, to what color should the button be on our landing page, to what should we be offering as an opt-in incentive. All those things, our brains are hardwired to guess wrong. And I could go into all the detail. Basically what's happening is our brain is giving far too much weight to our past experience as opposed to looking at the entire market and looking at the entire world. And so here's what happens. Most people, when asked to guess between two different things that are equally as probable, most people guess incorrectly about half the time. In other words, you could do just as well as your brain does with all of your X years of amazing experience and training and everything. You could do just as well as it does by flipping a coin and then randomly choosing which one will do better. By the way, this also works in the stock market. And so if you look at it, you're hardwired to make bad choices. And here's the thing. Even the very best people with huge amounts of training are wrong about 30% of the time. So I'm pretty proud of myself that when I look at these things, I usually can guess right between 60 to 70% of the time. That means I'm wrong 30 to 40% of the time. And if I've just plowed $10,000 of money that really could be used for other things into running an ad that I guessed wrong on, there goes $10,000 to $20,000 out the door. Perhaps you've done this. Perhaps you've fallen into the trap that I see people do all the time. Okay, I need to build a list. I haven't got much money, but I need to build a list so that I can do a launch. And so I'm going to create an ad and I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to create an opt-in page and I'm going to a landing page with an opt-in incentive on it. And I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to see what happens. And so they choose one ad, one landing page, one opt-in incentive. And they put it out there, and so they've got three separate opportunities to guess wrong. 50% times 50% times 50%, they've got a 12.5% probability of guessing right. That's why over and over again, people fail at creating ads to build a list. Because they're making their best guess, which has a 50% probability of being right, three separate times. So there is really only one solution for this problem, which is very simple. You don't make a choice. You test. You do the very, very best job you can of doing your very, very best emphasis, very best job of trying to predict what's going to work. And you put more than one option out there and you test it in the marketplace to see what people are actually going to do, not to try to guess what your brain is going to do. So think about that. Now, unfortunately, testing costs money. So let me just give you a real quick system that I like to use to do this. Sometimes this works. Sometimes it doesn't. I'll tell you what happens. Basically, what you do is you take several different versions and you test them using free social. Then you take the winners from that, and usually you're testing 5 to 10 different options using free social out there. Then you take the winners from that and put those winners into a paid test. Now, here's the key. So let's say we put 5 to 10 options out there. We chose the top 3. We put the top 3 into a paid test. We look at how they did free, what their engagement rates were. So comments, shares, likes, those clicks, obviously. We look at all those, and then we've got the data from free. We then put it into paid, and then we carefully measure the paid results versus the free results. What we're doing here is that we're trying to see how good our audience is at predicting what the general audience is going to be, or the wider audience as you go out with paid ads, what the wider audience is going to be in paid. So let me say that again. You're taking your free and you're seeing how good a job it did of predicting what the results would be in paid advertising. Now, some of us have a social media audience that is predictive, so that the free results are very similar to what the paid results are going to be later on. If that's true, that's great, because it enables you to be able to test using your free audience. Unfortunately, most of the time, our free results will not be predictive of the bigger market. It can be because those are people who really like you. That's why they follow you. It could be that your free audience is different than the audience you're bringing into your paid ad. Whatever that is, what ends up happening is if your free is not predictive of your paid results, you're going to need to do all of your testing via paid things. Now, you can do that for not much money. Maybe spend, and I realize not much is an inexact term. So if you put $50 to $100 in ads for 4 different versions, you'll be able to quickly be able to tell which one of those works best for you. You can't do it with 5. Trust me, you can't do it with 5, especially at Facebook. If it's costing you $3 a click, $5 means 2 2/3 of a click. No, 1 2/3 of a click. That's not a good result. That's why you need to be spending around $100 is what I find to be able to at least get a knockout of these 5 versions. These 3 should be gone, and then we're going to spend another $200 on the last 2 to figure out which one works best. Okay? So, but here's the thing. Let's go back to that free versus paid and the free trying to predict the paid. Even if you can, even if you do have a free audience that is predictive of your paid, you still need to test. Remember, go back to that initial factoid, and this factoid has been true literally for 40 years now, is that most people guess incorrectly about half the time. So the tests I've seen range from about 51% accuracy down to 47% accuracy. I've even seen some tests that are only the average person is only 30% accurate. At 30%, hey, a coin flip will beat your prediction every single time, which is really unfortunate. Okay, so lessons learned. Number 1, you're probably going to guess incorrectly at least half the time. Even if you're really, really, really good, you're still going to misguess 30 to 40% of the time. Testing is the only solution. It is possible to test using free social media if your free audience is predictive of the paid audience. It may not be. Most of the time it's not. And so do a test where you test a number of things in your free social, and then expand that up to your paid social, to your paid ads, see if they're predictive. And if they're not, you're going to have to do 100% paid in all your testing. And finally, the key thing is no matter what you do, test. It's far too important. And please recognize when you're just getting started, don't just do one ad, going to one ad landing page, offering one opt-in incentive. That's literally a 12.5% probability of success. Test several. That's the way you'll be able to actually get data and facts. And very frankly, that's what enables you to choose the thing that's going to build your entire business. Think about it. So what's been your experience with this? Does this make sense? Let me know in the comments. Let me know your opinion and your experience. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.